the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Sir, the Ebeya Ghana for the Donano ebetumi apepa the memory of a new man witnessing enra the horrific scenes coming from the site of the plane crash. Ebeche ye papa. But to some of them, it is going to be an indelible ink, ever encrypted in their minds. Titipa any ebusuafo a omo eho aka titupa ni adofo a omo ho aka, the family of Obiti said Dr. Omaneboama, the families of Obiti said Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Mutala, the family of Obiti said Dr. Sapon, and it is omom kaka ho be very, very difficult to forget such a horrific incident as what was recorded in Ra. Na Ghana fwa ewo odosoro nkode mo man yi akọ servo in the line of duty na sa atorenchem sei ebeto wo mo. In fact areho yareho sem yi papa ene no I see wo man yi mo. Now eyewitness report no de akoye bebrebe obia ka de ohun ye, but the perfect explanation ya Ghana for do na hwe ni mono should be able to come from the experts, the aviation experts, retired pilots, as to adekodia poti ebetumi asi ama this Air Force plane akwakohia sa enkwanhia sei enu nti na eye ni je na eye dese awie yi yenuanom join news for etumi granted this interview with two experts. Ya omoye very, 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 in fact, sanking with respect to aviation ho sensem. Emu baako Captain Yaufoli. Captain Yaufoli, ya oye retired pilot, both domestic and international. The also Dr. Isaka Yakubu Akparibu, ya also international aviation expert. Oye Air Force penyiripa ya waba ahomiji. Tiebeko ni akwakotie sampeni fo imienu their analysis with respect to what could actually happen to lead to this unfortunate crash.
Anyway, let me bring in an aviation expert, Dr. Isaka Yakubu Akparibo. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. From your own readings, I mean, if you listen to a lot of people, there seem to be some conclusions that the flight itself, the helicopter could have been faulty or whatever, but you understand the aviation sector very well. What is your own reading of what could probably have gone wrong yesterday?
Yes. Good morning to your panelists and your listeners too, and my condolences to the bereaved family and the government. Yeah, so I think it's too early for us to know the probable cause of the accident. Yeah, but normally when aviation accidents like this happen, we try to look at three broad areas. We look at the human beings, that's the crew. We look at the machine itself, that's the aircraft, the maintenance records, the parts that were used for servicing, and then we also look at the systems. The systems, we look at the environment, what was the weather situation. We want to know the crew management, whether there's fatigue management amongst crew. You want to know the organizational culture and other issues that borders around the systems. So normally these are the three broad areas that we look at, but it's very early to point to a probable cause. Mm-hmm. But when you listen to eyewitness account, it looks more like it's what in aviation we call control flight into terrain. So you have like a normal aircraft without fault, a competent pilot, but then due to lack of situational awareness, the aircraft goes to hit the terrain and then causes like an explosion like what happened. So it's very early for us to know the probable cause, but these are the areas that we'll be looking at. And in aviation, normally we don't take eyewitness account like 100%. You know, a research was done in the UK among A-level students. So a video was played to all the students, I think about 7 of them. And then after about some few hours, then they were asked to recall what they saw. And, you know, and each of them gave a different account. So that is why in aviation, normally we listen to eyewitnesses, but we don't take their story as the fact as 100% factual.
But yeah. did you mention lack of spatial awareness?
Situational awareness, I said. So what we have what we call control flight into terrain, which is normally due to what we call situational awareness. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you listen to account,
yeah,
it looks like the weather too could probably have played a role. I mean, how possible is that from your professional experience?
Yeah, so with rotary wing or helicopters, normally weather impacts their operations. So if you look at, for us in the civilian side, we do use them for air ambulances. We normally don't fly in we don't fly when the weather is also bad. But with the military aircraft, most of them are equipped with infrared and then radars and other gadgets that help bad weather conditions. And that's why even when we in the civilians don't fly, they normally would do in bad weather situations. But helicopters generally don't perform well when there are clouds or when the weather is bad, you know, and it's because they don't fly so high like the fixed wing aircraft. So normally when you go into clouds, you can get into a situation we call spatial disorientation. Spatial disorientation creates the sensation that, like, when you're a kid, if you run around for some time and you stop, you see that you'll be feeling very dizzy, or you feel like the air moving around. So that kind of sensation is created, and then you lose control. And because the distance is not high from the ground, you will not be able to recover, and that is why the normal crash that way.
I mean, according to reports, another chopper was grounded, had an emergency landing in the Esekuma area. So, should the Air Force have determined that the weather yesterday was not suitable for flight around the time that they left?
Oh, we normally look at the weather situation at the destination before taking off. And I believe that the Air Force for sure had done that, and they probably cleared the flight because they knew that the weather situation was probably good. But, you know, weather is very dynamic. Sometimes you get, like, information about the area, and then within the 30 minutes, then it changes. You know, so if you don't have live time feedback about that, you wouldn't know. You know, but I believe that for sure they had information about the weather situation there before departing across.
I don't know if you've seen the simulation some people have done where the helicopter crashes into a tree and then explodes at the bottom of that particular tree. If you have seen it, is that something that could come close to the reality of yesterday? Yeah.
So I haven't seen that simulation. But what happened yesterday, Why it exploded that way was that I'm sure they carried enough fuel for the return journey. You know, Obuasi would not have a refueling station for the aircraft. So if the pilot had time, what he would have done was to do what we call dumping. So you dump most of the fuel, and then when you do an emergency landing, then the aircraft, even when it's like an obstacle, it doesn't. But because this was all of a sudden event that occurred, pilots probably didn't have time to do that. And the aircraft fired because it had enough in the tank. That is what I think happened. Yes.
Oh, so it's because of the fuel that
Yeah.
did that sort of explosion.
Exactly, because they had to carry enough fuel that would bring them back to Accra.
Okay.
You know, and that caused the fireball. Yeah, but if he had enough time to dump some of the fuel, the fire would have been limited. It would have been this extent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would mean that they wouldn't have bent the way they did.
Yeah, exactly. So they would have been the way, like, the bodies are so charged, you know, and normally we'll then look at the crash to see whether it's a survivable crash, you know, and by the way it happened, because of the fuel that they carried, then that's why they caught fire and burned the. Yeah.
So you had.
Yeah, Dr. Akparibo, I'm wondering, what inferences did you make from the timelines? I mean, between the time the Ghana Armed Forces released their statements that their plane had gone off the radar and the time that the news broke of the, you know, the crash and the burning of these bodies, what inferences can you make from your expert opinion?
Yeah, so the Air Force made that statement because they lost contact with the aircraft. And if you lose contact with the aircraft, you cannot conclude that the aircraft had crashed. You need to do a search and rescue first. And then when you find the aircraft, then you then conclude that they had crashed. Now, people report, when they release the statement, people had already reported that they had sighted the aircraft at the crash site. But the Air Force not conclude that way because they didn't know that aircraft, their aircraft, or another one. So I think when they put up was the right timeline. It was. I don't see any problem with it.
Well,
Yeah.
Dr. Isaka Yakubu Akparibo, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Now let's usher in Captain Michael Yaufoli. I mentioned that we'll be talking to him. He has 40 years as an international airline pilot, certificate in airline contract law, international air law, and aircraft purchase, contract, and operating leases. Well, Captain, thank you for joining us this morning on the AM show. First of all, I want to get your initial reaction. What state of mind were you in when the news broke out, and what deductions have you made so far?
Well, first of all, I don't know if good morning is an appropriate greeting for today.
You might have to speak up for me, Captain.
Oh, first of all, I don't know if good morning is an appropriate greeting this morning.
It's okay. Good morning, Captain.
It's a sad day
Yeah.
for the nation, for the families of those involved, and for aviation. No, it's a shock to the national conscience, and a shock to everyone who loves human beings. It's a shock to traveling up, and it's a gap to collect sense of government. I was just there yesterday when the news broke.
Oh, so Captain, I'm getting some interference in your connection. We're going to try and re-establish that connection. Hopefully it's better. Let's try again.
Okay.
You're saying that it's a sad day. You're unsure whether good morning will be an accurate greeting. And then I lost a chunk of everything else. So let's try again.
Yes. I said yesterday was a God's blow, the whole nation. a terrible tragedy. And I wonder how long it will take for us to recover from this.
You've flown extensively across many continents. I don't know if you're still with us. And we are hearing that this could have been an issue of bad weather and the plane crashing. And then we also heard the experts say that it's possibly, too much fuel aboard, which is why the bodies were burned to that extent. I want to understand from your own perspective if you think these explanations fly.
When there is an aircraft accident, we don't rush into making speculations, accusations, suppositions. There must be an exhaustive investigation. We should ignore all the theories. We should ignore all the conspiracy theories. We should ignore all the fake news. Even eyewitness accounts are only part of the investigation process. If there is an aircraft accident, it could be caused by many factors. It could be an aircraft that suddenly disintegrates in flight as a result of a mechanical failure. It could be weather-related. It could be a maintenance issue. It could be what we call pilot error. So there has to be an extensive investigation. Within the first 30 days, there should be a preliminary report. And then within the next 12 months, after the investigators have accessed the flight data recorder, the cockpit voice recorder, then hopefully they'll be in a position to come out with the proper cause of this accident.
In a situation like this, where even the bodies are bent beyond recognition, is it possible to recover this black box you talk about and the other pieces of evidence that would, help this investigation that you're asking for?
What we call the black box is actually two instruments. We have the cockpit voice recorder, which records every conversation on the flight deck. Then we have the flight data recorder, which records all the parameters of the aircraft. The altitude, the speed, the direction. If there is any malfunction, it will also be recorded, hopefully. So a combination of the aircraft performance, in addition to the cockpit voice recording, can point investigators to a specific direction. In addition to that, there will be other factors that will be taken into consideration. It is a military helicopter. Questions should be, were there any explosives on board? Was there any ammunition on board which could have caused an explosion outwardly? Or was there a projection from outside that caused a disintegration? Eyewitness accounts can help. Was it weather-related? So these are aircraft investigation is a detailed process which cannot be rushed and should not be rushed.
In your 4 decades of experience, have you encountered anything like this? And how did the people handle it? What lessons can you share with us in terms of how we can also manage this going forward?
From a pilot's point of view, it's pilots who discuss and narrate these things. It's not for the public. Of course, we've come across incidents, events that could have resulted in accidents, but from our training and our competence, we've resolved them by the grace of God. What should concern the public is especially the relatives of the deceased and also the traveling public and all sympathizers is what is the cause of this accident. I saw something about the military investigating. The military's role is even minute in this process. They were the ones who owned the aircraft, the helicopter. They serviced it. They dispatched it. They chose the crew. So they are not the ones to investigate this accident in the broader sense. We have an independent accident investigation board, which hopefully by now should be going to the military and asking them, let us see the maintenance record of this helicopter. Let us see the training that you gave the crew. Tell us the plan you had for this flight. So accident investigation should not be left to the airline or the ones who own the aircraft. No. It's a broader issue because the manufacturers of this aircraft will also be involved in the investigation. First of all, they would like to exonerate themselves.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will affect their brand. Then also, civil aviation is in charge of all aviation in Ghana. So they are the ones who will hand over this investigation to the Independent Accident Investigation Board. So the military can do their thing, but we, the public, we are watching them because this is a national issue. This is my take on it, yes.
Captain Michael Yaufoli there. Kojo, I believe you have some questions for him as well.
Independent Accident Investigation Board.
Yeah, here in Ghana, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think we just found out.
So the aircraft
So
accident
there's one here in Ghana.
Incident Investigation
Captain,
and Prevention Bureau.
can you confirm for us how active this is?
Yeah, we are active.
Oh, yes. Oh, we have a very robust and well-qualified accident investigation board.
Okay.
They are well-trained, they are well-equipped. I think recently, even the head of the board attended an international conference of some sort. So they are well-equipped. They are independent. They should not be influenced, and they will not be influenced by the various actors that operate in Ghana, so to say.
But my colleague wanted to find out from you earlier that if you look at the kind of explosion that we've seen, will it affect the black box and the items that you say can, assist the investigation? Will they still be there if you look at this sort of explosion we saw?
The black boxes, as we call them, are very robust. They are built to withstand huge amounts of shock. They are built to withstand fire. But the damage to the black box can delay the result of the investigation. They will need expert input, probably even from the U.S. or the manufacturers. So the degree of damage to the black box can only delay the investigations, but they are built to withstand shock.
Okay. So there's no room for us to be told that those items were not found.
They should be found. Black boxes can even be detected when they are submerged in an ocean.
Okay.
You remember Air France aircraft that plunged into the Atlantic